Other insurance companies just see a car, but a State Farm agent sees what your car really means to you. So why not give it the protection it deserves? See State Farm agent Barkley Hudson in Princeton today.
Are you struggling to afford health care and medications? Let Health First help you. Whether you are insured, uninsured, or underinsured, you will still be cared for at Health First Community Health Center. We offer financial and prescription assistance to all those that qualify, which is based on income and household size. Contact our office at 1-877-667-7017 for more information, or visit our website, healthfirstchc.net. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Visit us at one of our 8 locations for all your health care needs. At Health First, your health is our first concern.
I just came by to show you my beautiful car that I just bought at Trice Shoes. Y'all are always telling me to shop local, and so that's what I do every time I can. I wanted a car here that I could take up here to Trice Shoes and get service on, and that's what they're going to do for me. My name is Dolores Campbell. I just had to share the news.
Trice Shoes is here for you and any questions you may have about your vehicle. Buy your next vehicle from the home team. Find them on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or at tricehughes.com.
I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Have you heard about the Coon Dog Inn? They have breakfast so good it'll make you slap your mama. And all day till 2 o'clock. You can even have you some lunch in the morning if you want it. And their daily specials are good as all get out.
Hush your mouth. Where's the Coon Dog Inn?
It's over yonder on Cassidy Avenue in Fredonia. They just got the place all done up and spiffy. You ought to go see it. They're open Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 2, and on Sunday 8 till 2. You'll leave the Coon Dog Inn full as a tick.
Do you ever find yourself in need of a new beginning? I'm Stephanie Bowes, a board-certified life coach and Christian counselor. My counseling service is called Where New Beginnings Start, and that's exactly what I try to offer my clients, a new beginning. Locally established at 104 East Court Square in Princeton. Together, we can tackle problems like anger management, parenting, personal or marriage counseling, grief, addiction, recovery, and batterers intervention. For questions or to set up an appointment, please contact me at 270-625-8211 or via Facebook. Remember, we are never truly alone.
Hi, this is Kelly Martin of Pennyroyal Hospice, and we are proud to be a part of the greatest comeback of all time.
It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
Good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY Radio and YourSportsEdge.com. Thanks for joining us today. Another big show as always. We're going to start the day off with Caldwell football assistant coach Aaron McClung. And Aaron, thanks for coming in and being on the show today.
No problem. I'm just glad we're getting to talk about football, and it's only a day away now.
Yeah, you and me both. I'm just, I've had some soccer games to cover this week, a volleyball game out at the Cab tonight, and then football tomorrow, so it's nice to be talking about sports.
That's right. Closer to getting back to normal.
And you guys going to have a little different atmosphere Friday night at Tiger Stadium. Not as many fans as we would have liked for a Caldwell-Crittenden County game, but a few tickets still available for the game.
Yeah, when I left the high school this morning, there were still 72 tickets left, and those are all season passes, so they cost $30, and that's all. There's no single game tickets that are going to be sold. So if you want a ticket to the game, you need to go out to the high school. They have a table set up out front, and you pay your $30, and you get tickets to all our home games. And it doesn't, if you're from Crittenden County and you want to drive over here and pay $30 for a season pass, you can do it. There's 70 of those left, and there won't be any tickets sold at the gate, so you need to get it done.
Yeah, everybody needs to get on that if you want to go to the game. We need to get to a break here on the show, but back with more with Aaron McClung after this on the Sideline Report.
Need cash fast? ABC Finance is open with social distancing implementations in place. They believe it's more important now than ever to get a handle on on your finances.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
At ABC Finance, we don't just provide loans, but we also provide valuable advice to help you get your credit in better standing.
Our friendly team of professionals has your best interest in mind. We celebrate with you when your finances improve.
We encourage you to like our Facebook page, ABC Finance Company. Many of those useful tips are posted daily on our page, including tons of community info and motivation for the day.
To view social distancing guidelines and safety measures, like and follow ABC Finance Company on Facebook. ABC Finance is located off Fort Campbell Boulevard in Hopkinsville next to O'Charlie's, then Princeton and the Princeton Plaza. Apply for loans online or simply give them a call. They'll take your application over the phone. ABC Finance, all loans subject to normal credit approval. You're invited to join us for a special celebration on Saturday, September 12th from 9 a.m. till noon on 1580 103.3 WPKY as we have a virtual celebration of the Black Patch Festival. We'll tell you things about Black Patch you never knew. This special program is brought to you in part by
Black Patch Grill, Planners Bank, Princeton Optimist Club, where new beginnings start and you ride.
Stop by your Princeton Dairy Queen on September 29th for Customer Appreciation Day. Opening at 6 a.m., be one of the first 50 customers to purchase a 10-inch DQ cake or larger and earn free Blizzard treats for a year. The day will continue with half off all DQ novelty items, including dilly bars, ice cream sandwiches, Buster bars, and more. Celebrate Customer Appreciation Day all day long, September 29th at your local Princeton DQ.
50 years. That's how long the Black Patch Heritage Festival has been in existence. This year was supposed to be extra special, but COVID-19 changed all that and so many things in our lives. But perhaps it's helped us to slow down a bit and reflect on things in our lives. And perhaps we will be more excited than ever when the Black Patch Festival time rolls around next year. Until then, let's be kind and loving to our neighbors, friends, and family. The Princeton Optimist Club appreciates your support of the festival year after year.
We are back on the Sideline Report here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Caldwell County football assistant coach Aaron McClung with us today, and football coming up Friday night at Tiger Stadium. The Tigers hosting Crittenden County. Caldwell County with a 10-game winning streak in that series. And Aaron, just once again, we need to remind everybody that if you don't get a pass ahead of time, you can't get in the game Friday night.
Yeah, and they will be taking your temperatures before you, when you first enter the campus. There'll be 2 entrances, and they'll be at the primary school, and then we'll be at one at Beckner Lane. They'll take your temperatures in your car, and if you have a temperature of 100.5, I think, you will not be admitted into the game. So,
and everyone there will have to social distance and wear masks and everything, and not always the most comfortable thing, but if that's what we have to do to play sports, then so be it.
Yeah, and with the amount of tickets that we've given, we've measured out all the areas of the bleachers and around the bleachers. So we measured how many people that we can safely accommodate, and with the amount of people that we're letting in, there'll be plenty of space to social distance. So there really won't be an excuse to not follow those guidelines and to help us to continue to play football.
But the big question, I guess, going into the contest, how good is Crittenden County? How good are the Caldwell County Tigers?
Well, that's a good question. We don't know how good we are because we haven't played a game yet. We graduated a really outstanding running back in De'Ara Caldwell. We graduated a 3-year starter on our offensive line in Luke Stallings. We graduated our leading tackler in Ben Holt. We graduated a cornerback. So really have no idea. Even in our inter-squad scrimmage, we never had the full offense, number one offense on the field together at the same time. We never had the number one defense together on the field at the same time. So we don't really know. According to Crittenden County, they got their best team since '85. So, we're going to have our hands full with those guys. They return a lot of guys everywhere. They return 4 out of their 5 offensive linemen. They return their quarterback, running back, receivers, a lot of their defense. The Boone kids are a really good linebacker. So, according to them, they're going to making a run at the state championship this year. So we're going to get a really good test right off the bat.
The 1985 Crittenden County team won a Class A state championship, but lost that season to Caldwell County. So Caldwell County's kind of had the Rockets' number, and you guys have played, I think, some of your better games the last few years in that Crittenden County game.
Yeah, it's been the fourth game of the year, so you have a lot more preparation when it's the third or fourth game of the year. So with it being back in the first game this year, there's a lot more unknowns going into a game like this, with it being the first game, especially with no scrimmages. You got to think our contact is probably what we've done in practice contact-wise is nowhere near what we've been able to do in the past, because you just can't practice full speed ones versus ones for 2 hours, and that's what's going to be in Friday night in the game. It's going to be ones on ones and for 2.5 hours, and we haven't done that yet. So there's probably going to be a lot of kinks that are going to need to get worked out. There's probably going to be a lot of missed tackles, and probably going to be some turnovers, and what team is in better shape and what team makes the least amount of mistakes is probably going to be the team that wins.
Well, you mentioned that you've got some pieces missing from last season, but you also return a whole lot from that team. And I think in a season like this, kind of having a veteran squad is a plus.
Yeah, we do return a lot of kids from last year, only having 5 seniors last year. We return 4 of our offensive linemen, our quarterback, all of our receivers. Defensively, almost our entire front returned. We graduated a linebacker and a DB, and we graduated Devin Kilgore played end, but I feel like the guys that are stepping in are kind of like Devin, so I don't feel like we're going to have a big drop off there. So we'll see.
Crittenden County coming here Friday night, and what do you guys expect to see out of the Crittenden County offense?
Well, they're a system team, so you're going to see some spread out of them. They have a couple of their own little tweaks to the system. They do some of their own stuff. They'll run some wing T stuff. They still, those guys they're coaching there, they played and ran some wing T when they played. So they're going to have some of that stuff in. They're probably going to have some power stuff in. They have a really good running back, and they're gonna feed him the ball, and he's he can break long runs, and he had 1,600 yards last year, and he's on pace to break some records this year. So I would expect him to carry the ball a bunch.
Xander Tabor is the big running back for Crittenden County, and like Aaron said, over 1,600 yards rushing last season, so expect to get a heavy dose of him. But seems like every time we play Crittenden County, the Rockets always have a surprise play or two in there someplace.
They do. They're creative guys over there. They'll always have some kind of trick play or onside kick or and the thing about them is if they get you on something and you don't respond or adjust, they're going to keep doing it to you.
Well, last year you guys probably ran the ball more than you have in a long, long time just because of the personnel. And when you've got a De'Eric Caldwell, you might as well give him the football, right?
Yeah, and he had a really special year. De'Eric had some ups and downs coming up through high school and football-wise, and he really shined his senior year. He didn't fumble the whole year. He had 1,600 yards rushing on 200 and something carries, and he did not have a fumble the entire season. So, and he wasn't a great big running back, but he ran so tough last year, and he was so explosive. He was really the key cog of our offense last year.
This season, do you expect it to be a little more toward the passing game, or how do things shake out this year?
Well, our receivers have really improved over the off season. So, I feel like they're going to have a bigger role. It's just you can't really replace a guy like De'Eric. He was really special. He's gone on to play at Kentucky Christian. So, we're going to spread things out probably a little more. We probably won't have as much explosive ability offensively. I feel like offensive line is coming together some. So, hopefully we'll be able to control, play ball control a little bit more, and, we'll just see.
Well, and one reason I think you guys ran the ball more last year was because they kind of fit Russ Bashir at quarterback. He was more of a running quarterback than probably what we've had, and that was a little unique situation for the Caldwell offense.
Yeah, I mean, and Russ, he's not a big guy. You know, he always see the best, and you know, that was his first year starting at quarterback, and we were playing him in free safety, so that was new for him. So he had a lot put on him last year. I think he did a great job. I think he probably had a better passing season than he probably expected for himself. He's pretty hard on himself, but I thought he had a really good year, and I thought he stepped up and did everything that we asked him to do.
Well, you guys went 8-3 last year, and with everything that happened, that's a pretty strong season.
Yeah, I was very happy with our record last year. You know, we played in some close games, and we got some breaks in some close games that could have easily gone the other way. You know, we had a couple special teams touchdowns in that opener. When we played Murray High, I think we were down 21-0, 17-0.
17-0, yeah.
17-0, and we came back in that one, and you know, last year was such a blur with what happened at the beginning of the year. So, of course, when you lose in the first round of the playoffs in a rematch with somebody you beat, you're disappointed. But, you know, in all reality, Murray was super talented last year. So, you know, and that game in the regular season could have gone any way. And you don't want to lose in the first round of the playoffs. But looking back on the season as a whole, you know, it was a great season.
Well, and I think the playoff game was 34-17, if I remember right. But I think it was 21 or 20-17 at one point. So it was actually a little closer than the final score indicates, and a play or two here or there swings that game.
Yeah. You know, and they had some kids that, you know, their quarterback got hurt the week before or 2 weeks before, and the Sokolowski kid, he stepped up and did a great job, and they put that big Lawrence kid in the backfield, and he ran it some, and you know, we weren't super ready for that, and it was it just wasn't we just weren't on that well that night, especially defensively.
Talking about the Caldwell offense this season, though, I think you guys are probably going to be more diverse this year because all those receivers you have gotten a little bigger and have a year under their belt now.
Well, I hope so. You know, I hope we can open it up and be balanced. You know, we weren't super balanced last year because, I mean, if you watched us on film, you know we were going to get Derek the ball. I hope this year maybe we got a little more mystery to us, because hopefully we can get the ball to any of our skill guys and they can do something for us.
Defensively, you guys look like you have quite a bit of talent coming back there too.
Well, we returned a lot of the guys up front. We had some new guys in our secondary. They've done a good job. You know, I think it's going to be different Friday night when you go against real live varsity people one-on-one. So I hope that they'll step up and play well. We returned two of our defensive linemen. We returned 3 of our linebackers. So, you know, hopefully those guys will keep doing, you know, our defense played pretty solid last year until the last 3 games. So hopefully we'll get back to that.
Looking at the team up front on defense, though, I'd hate to have to be the guy that had to block Elijah Shaheen or Drew Davis.
Well, they're pretty active kids, and they love football. So, you know, I've been pretty happy with them. They need to have a good game. They need to have a big game for us Friday night. So, you know, we're going to need them to step up and play to the level we think they can play at.
Should be a good game. Both teams are ranked in the top 10. Crittenden is number 4 in Class 1A by BluegrassPreps.com. Caldwell is number 9 in that one. So I think just about all the rankings have Crittenden, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 in Class 1A, and Caldwell's probably anywhere from 7 to 10 in 2A.
Yeah, and you know, they everything I've seen has them ranked really high in 1A. You know, and they're going to play, I think Paintsville's number 2 in 1A, and they're going to play them after our game. So, you know, Crittenden's a top 5 at least 1A team, and they're playing a good schedule. when we're in our 2A district, three of the top 10 teams are in our district. So we're going to play some good teams after we play Crittenden. So it ought to be some good football.
Well, as you get ready for the 2020 season, the year 2020 has been completely different from anything we've ever experienced, I think. But have you noticed the attitude on the team kind of getting just a little better, a little sharper as you get ready for the first game?
Yeah, definitely in these last couple weeks, since we've actually practicing with full pads on and getting close to the game. It's still not all the way back. We're not getting together and watching film. And that's really odd. We're meeting with kids on Zoom meetings and we're making videos for kids to watch. So we're not all the way back, but at least we're getting out there for a couple hours a day, when we're hitting and yelling at them and running and talking about game plans. And so we're moving closer to normal.
Looking ahead to Friday night at Tiger Stadium, how weird is the vibe going to be? Only about 700 people in the stadium, and I think typically Caldwell Crittenden would get 2,000 people or more out there for that.
I would say at least. I think the last time Crittenden County came over here, I bet there was 5,000 people in the stadium because all the stands were completely full, and then they were full up and down the track. And that's a shame that we have to miss out on that because – that it's such an awesome atmosphere. Our communities are close to each other, and we both really want to win and to get together like that on a Friday night. And it's a healthy rivalry. I mean, there's some trash talking, but it's respectful overall. And, to see 4,000 or 5,000 people get together on a Friday night from two communities like that, it's really special and unique. And we're going to have to just do it with 700 people this year. And I think it'll actually still be pretty loud and pretty raucous because the people that are going to pay and to come over here $30 to get in, they are your true royal blue fans, and they want to get in there and see that.
And once again, some tickets still available for Friday's game and for the entire season.
Yeah, there's 70, and after when those 70 are gone, those are all the tickets for the whole season. There's not going to be any ticket. There's not going to be any tickets for come by for Ballard or Mayfield or whoever else we play at home this year. This is the tickets for the season. So there's 70 or 72 of them. There's probably 65 left now since I left. So if you want a ticket to see a home football game, you need to get out there and get it.
I'm just tickled that we've got a football game to go to and high school sports this week with the soccer, volleyball all getting going. I wasn't sure we were ever going to get there.
I'm going to be real honest with you. In June, July, I was seriously worried that it wasn't going to happen. And so this is a bonus, because I was worried that we were even going to ever get to have a padded practice, and now we're a day away from a game, and hopefully we don't get it called off between now and Friday. Hopefully we pass that point of no return. So it's going to be awesome to actually get to coach a football game.
Well, good luck to you guys on Friday. Appreciate you coming by today and being on the show.
No problem.
That is Aaron McClung, Caldwell County football assistant coach. Back with more on the Sideline Report right after this.
There's an advantage in being the home team. You know who Emma Talley, Jake Lewis, and Pat Gates are. You've seen the wall around Butler Stadium and have heard of the Caldwell Crazies. Trice Hughes, we're your home team. Here's our home team deal of the week.
2019 Chevy Blazer. You take your pick, silver or gray. All-wheel drive Premier. Only $11,184.
Get this home team deal of the week at Trice Hughes. Find us on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or tricehughes.com.
Out of an abundance of caution and in your best interest, public access to the Princeton Electric Plant Board office is restricted. Normal business operations will continue utilizing the drive-through window. Bill payments using online methods, bank drafts, and credit cards are encouraged, but checks and cash will continue to be accepted methods of payment. Utilizing the free online payment system from the comfort of your own home is both safer and more efficient for you. You will only need your account number, which is located on your bill, and a credit card or debit card to use this convenient feature. In an effort to help our community and assist our neighbors during this time of uncertainty, Princeton Electric Plant Board invites customers to call the office if they need additional time to pay their electric bill due to the loss of work. We appreciate our customers and look forward to working through this together.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks to Aaron McClung for coming in and talking about Caldwell County football. The Tigers opening the season Friday night at home against Crittenden County, 7 o'clock. And if you can't get out to the stadium, we will have a live stream at WPKYonline.com. Volleyball team at home tonight. Caldwell Volleyball hosting Hopkinsville. If you can't get out to the cab tonight, you can listen to that game on 1580, 103.3, and on WPKYonline.com, as well as the WPKY app. Caldwell soccer girls on the road tonight. They'll play at Hopkinsville, so just fun to get to talk about high school sports and actual games going on this week. Coming up on the show in just a bit, we'll be talking to Elijah Sindelar, former Caldwell County Tiger football great and former Kentucky Mr. Football. We actually spoke with Elijah during Tiger Day last week here at WPKY. Tiger basketball coach Daniel Cookie Hicko was in the studio with us that day as well, and we'll have our interview with Elijah Sindelar coming up next as we continue on the Sideline Report here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Some of the best times are on the lake, eating your favorite food, sipping on a drink, and listening to live music. The Summer Concert Series at Eddy Creek Marina Resort is open for business. Live bands every Saturday night. Sit back and grab some of your favorites at Echo Charlie's, like the homemade crab cakes, Bubba's Key West Salt Rings, or the hand-patted Barkley Burger, pontoon rentals, cabins, and more to enjoy at Eddy Creek Marina and Echo Charlie's this summer.
The Cat's Tail Used Books in downtown Princeton encourages you to enjoy the annual Black Patch Festival coverage on WPKY. Even though there's no actual festival, we must celebrate the many successful years of Black Patch, 50 to be exact. Maggie Gammon, owner of the Cat's Tail Used Books, is a huge supporter of all things historical, and that includes the Black Patch Festival. Thanks, Maggie, for supporting Princeton, and thanks for having a great bookstore for all to enjoy. Visit the Cat's Tail Used Books anytime you can.
Tiger basketball coach Daniel Cookie Hicko is still with us, but now coming up with us on the phone, we have a former Tiger football player, basketball player, baseball player. Elijah Sindelar joins us. And Elijah, good afternoon. How are things going where you're at?
Things are going really well. Thanks for having me on here. This is exciting, and I'm glad I can be a part of it.
Absolutely. Former Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky, and had a good career there at Purdue, too. So how are things going?
Things are going really well. I've actually, I graduated with my electrical engineering degree. I minored in mathematics. I started at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, where I started back in December, and I got married back in April. So I've been married for about 5 months, and actually my wife and I just bought a house at the beginning of August. So things are, shaping up really well. I'm really happy, really excited, and just overall in a really good place right now.
Yeah, that's great. Talking about your career there at Purdue, you had some injuries, but still some great games for you with the Boilermakers.
Yeah, those injuries kind of added up quite a bit. Honestly, it's a long list at this point, but it was overall one of the best experiences I've ever had. Purdue was tremendous to me. I'll always be a Boilermaker and cannot thank them enough for not only my career, but my experiences, the friendships I made, the coaches. I mean, it was just overall awesome.
Yeah, if you came back this year, though, you'd get another year, right? So you could actually play next year as a seventh-year senior.
Yeah, that's correct. I'd be a grandpa by the time I finally finished.
Well, certainly on the football field here at Caldwell County, you did some great things, and I mentioned the Mr. Football Award. What are some of your favorite memories from your time as playing as a Tiger?
Oh, man. Some of my favorite memories. I mean, there's probably too many to count, but one that sticks out in particular is Ted Sybil's one-handed catch against Murray in the third round. I think it was my junior year, or might have been my sophomore year, actually. Was just tremendous. I remember feeling the bumps of him catching that pass that I kind of threw up, and just kind of more of a prayer, honestly, just trying to give him a chance, and he came down with it, and that was pretty special.
But your entire career, you got started as a freshman, and I think the first night on the field you threw for 500 and something yards and a bunch of touchdowns, and you guys won 80-62 down at Callaway County.
Yeah, we were trying to play basketball. We were wanting basketball to start up. No, I'm just kidding. That was that's actually the only game I've ever been nervous to play. Was my very first game in high school football. I always say that game got all the nerves out for the rest of my career, not only in high school but also in college, because you were nervous the whole game. It wasn't like we scored so much that we were up like, all right, game's over. I mean, it was constantly close. I think at halftime it was 42-35 or something. So it's still, a close game, basically 0-0 at that point. So I was just nervous the whole game. And I know Jalen was nervous, but it was cool to have him starting beside me, both of us being freshmen, and him basically having a tremendous game as well. It was just pretty spectacular, but I owe Ted Civils quite a bit of that. He really came down and with the ball for me and pulled through. He had a great game also.
So are you saying if you weren't nervous, you guys would have scored 100 that night?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. No,
well, like I said, you had a long football career. You played basketball at Caldwell County, baseball. What are some things that stick out in your mind from your time on the basketball floor?
Man, basketball was one of my favorite sports growing up, actually. It's kind of weird. I started, liking all these different sports at different times, essentially. Like, I started out wanting to be an NBA player when I was younger, and then that switched to being a professional football player. Before finishing that, I wanted to actually become a Major League Baseball pitcher. But basketball is a really fun sport because, especially when Coach K guard, because I like to be in control. I like to be the one bringing up the ball on the court and kind of directing what plays we're running, getting people set up in their positions. It's basically why I played quarterback and why I was a pitcher and things. I like to be in that kind of position, and Coach K really did a great job for myself, putting me in that spot and kind of giving me, the ability to kind of make some plays or make some calls or do things. Same thing with Coach Barnes. I can't thank Coach Barnes enough for what he did for me and how much, leeway he gave me in either changing a play at the line of scrimmage if I saw something else. I mean, the coaches at Caldwell County have just been really awesome to me and really excelled my athletic career in all three sports, and I'm just very, very grateful.
At one point, did you consider playing a little baseball there at Purdue?
I did, actually, 2 separate times, believe it or not. When I first went there, I tried to and then decided that I needed to get into engineering a little bit first before I tried to completely fill up my plate. And then when my first head coach was replaced with Coach Brom, I actually was on the baseball team, had a number, had a locker, was even practicing with them because that's when I wanted to start playing, and I figured Coach Brom would actually be okay with it because he played baseball in college. His was a little bit of a different situation. He actually played minor league in college, not on Louisville's baseball team. But anyway, he came in when he finally got there. I went in to tell him, and he didn't tell me not to play by any means, but he strongly advised me not to play. So I ended up having to step down, but it ultimately was probably the best decision at that point because the baseball schedule in college is pretty crazy. I don't know if anybody knows this. I mean, they play almost every weekend, Thursday through Sunday, and a lot of times they have games on Tuesday and Wednesday, and sometimes those Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, just up north in general, it's so cold at the beginning of the season that they have to play the majority of their season down south. They travel almost the whole, front quarter or front half of the year, and so some of those weeks I might not even be able to go to class except maybe on Monday. And as an engineering student, there was just no possible way that I could miss almost a full week of school and still be able to get everything done or learn what I need to learn.
I was going to say, trying to study engineering and be the quarterback on the football team, that's a pretty full plate.
Yeah, and I honestly, what made that a lot tougher was having to learn multiple offenses back-to-back years, essentially. When I first got there, Coach Shoup was our offensive coordinator, so I learned his playbook. The next year, he was replaced with Terry Malone. I had to learn his playbook. The year after that, we had Coach Brom come, and then luckily he stayed, till I finished my career, and I was able to dig into that playbook. And then once you learn it, it's first of all, it's kind of, he was similar to high school where you have one-word names for plays and everyone knew where to line up and what to run. His is very similar to that, so it was kind of a nice change of pace, whereas the first 2 ones I was in were more of a NFL style, huddle up kind of thing, whereas Coach Brom's a no huddle. So that was a really nice transition for me. But once I had a coach and a playbook that was the same year after year, it allowed my time management to be more spent on my engineering and my courses and my studies, rather than trying to split it with making sure I'm staying on top of learning the football plays, learning terminology, learning formations, learning defenses, and trying to do engineering. It kind of flipped towards the end of my career, which actually helped out better, because it gets a lot harder when you get into actually electrical engineering. The first year and a half are kind of general and just basic engineering, all your math, physics, and stuff. And then once your sophomore year is over, starting in your junior year is when you actually get into all the in-depth electrical engineering courses.
From a football standpoint, how big a jump was it to go from high school football in Caldwell County to Big Ten football at Purdue?
It was a pretty big jump, not going to lie. You have everybody on the defense who runs extremely fast, from the defensive lineman to the safety. I mean, the safety, a single high safety in the middle of the field can cover both sidelines tremendously well in college. You know, when playing Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan or Wisconsin, I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. And in high school, I can outrun defensive linemen, so I can get around the edge and run a little bit. In college, that's not happening. If you try to take off, they're going to catch you. They're going to trip you up. I mean, it's the fact that they can run that fast is unhuman-like, honestly. So it was pretty crazy, but it was still pretty fun. And just the pace of the game was really the biggest difference. Things happen a lot faster. Windows to throw close a lot faster. You don't have much area to miss, essentially. And if you miss, it's almost always an interception rather than an incompletion, unless you have a really good receiver who will either he'll come down with it or he'll make sure no one does. So it's just a really interesting dynamic to be playing Division I football like that. But I tell you what, when you have people like Rondell Moore and other receivers who are extreme game changers and playmakers, it makes my life, or did as a quarterback, much easier.
Well, just unfortunate because you and Rondell were hurt on the same play, right?
Same play, yep. We both went down. I was actually trying to throw it to him when he tripped and hurt his hamstring. I saw him go down, and mid-throw, I actually was able to hold on to the ball somehow, and that's when I got tackled. I'm not saying it was his fault, but I was just funny that I was trying to throw to him when I just thought he slipped. So I was trying to, regain the ball, get ready to throw to someone else, and then when I got tackled and, of course, broke my collarbone. It was just a weird game.
Yeah. What was kind of the highlight in your mind of your career there at Purdue?
The highlight in my mind would probably be, one, beating Indiana both years that I played them, which was really nice. The other thing would be playing in the Foster Farms Bowl on a torn ACL was probably the highlight of my career, having the guys rally around me, because at that point I couldn't run at all, and my offensive line did a tremendous job to allow me to stay in the pocket and not have to run much, because running on a torn ACL is not fun. It's very unstable. So I owe them a lot of credit. But that game, especially just being in San Francisco, playing in the 49ers stadium, was just surreal.
Well, yeah, and like you said, you're playing on a bum knee at that point. At what point did you guys make the decision to go ahead and play that season, and how did you guys manage to keep that so quiet?
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how nobody really knew. Even some of my teammates started to find out a little bit throughout the last game. So it happened on game 9, I believe, or 8, halfway through game 8, I think, and then I played the last 4 games or 3.5 games. It was something around there, and I remember, when the doctors telling me, hey, you torn your ACL, I'm like, well, can I play? And because at this point, we had a redshirt freshman who had just came in who was trying to redshirt, and I had redshirted when I came in. I knew how much the redshirt meant to me and how much it helped me not only in my career but also academically. And so I was trying, if I could play, if I could manage it, manage the pain, manage everything, manage swelling, if I could allow him to still redshirt, that was what I was going to try to do. And the guys are counting on you. It's important to show some grit as a quarterback and as a leader of the team, to show your guys that you're willing to put in the time, put in the effort, put your body at risk, essentially, to win some games. So just help with morale. But I remember we came in, so it happened on Saturday. I found out Monday, decided to try practicing on Tuesday. Coach Brown actually tried to get me not to. He was like, no way. He just didn't think it would really be possible, and I honestly wasn't sure either. With, as an offensive lineman, you could probably handle it a little better because you're not running or cutting. Receivers, there's no way. There's too many. You're running too fast and cutting too hard, too sharp to be able to have, play on a torn ACL. But quarterback could be possible if you stay in the pocket and be careful. So Coach Baum let me try it one day at practice on Wednesday. If it went well, he'd let me try it again. And we actually convinced him in practice, just by the way it went and being able to protect me and kind of keep me safe during practices and stuff. And ultimately it was just managing swelling. So they kind of changed how I practiced throughout the rest of that year. I didn't take as many reps. I kind of did more of like routes on air or 7-on-7, kind of things like that, not necessarily the 1-on-1s or 1-on-2s. And they did a good job of just getting me prepared every game leading up to the Foster Farms Bowl. We managed swelling. Like Monday was all swelling treatment, getting it down, getting it back to normal after the game on Saturday. So they just did a really good job of, I can't thank my athletic training staff enough for what they did to get me ready each week, because I'm sure I was a handful because it was pretty crazy.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton, Kentucky. Talking to Elijah Sindelar from last Wednesday when we had Tiger Day here at WPKY. We continue with our interview now with Elijah Sindelar.
Yeah, I mean, you just had an incredible game that night in the bowl game, and nobody knew about that until it came out later, and we were like, well, wow, he did that with one leg, basically.
Yeah, it was... Coach Brown told me I was finally able to tell the media kind of what was going on, because they kept asking me throughout the year, and even they would ask Coach, like, why am I in a brace? Like, why is he wearing it now all of a sudden? Like, what's wrong with him? Is he 100% kind of thing? And I think the thought process was to not let opponents get the leg up or know kind of what was going on, which was good. It was to protect me. And it just, I thank God that it did stay with just our team and that nobody really found out, because then, you could potentially have a target put on your back. And I'm not saying that would have happened, but there is that possibility. And it ended up being just fine. But yeah, it was just crazy. And the flight home, oh my goodness. After the Foster Farms Bowl, I remember just cringing and being in pain the whole flight home, which was almost, I think, a 3 or 3.5 hour flight from San Francisco back to West Lafayette. And I actually had surgery the next day after we landed. So it was just a crazy experience. Something I probably will not want to ever do again if I was still playing.
Well, going back to your high school days here at Caldwell County, running the spread offense, did that kind of help prepare you a little bit for college football?
Oh, yes. And I'm a firm believer in the spread offense. I think the spread offense opens up so much more opportunity to throw the ball, to throw completions, to gain yards, and ultimately get those big plays. It also helps the run game because you're spreading the defense out. When you bring them in too tight, or you bring in, two tight end formation and you only have one wide out and a fullback, or you maybe have two wide outs, you put a lot of people now into the box, which they can do both. They can stop the run right away because you now have, 7, 8 people inside the box, or they can see that it's not run, and then drop into, their mid-curl area or whatever it may be, and they can kind of cover their area of the field. So I like spreading out the defense, making the linebacker determine if he's going to stay over top of the slot receiver, if he's going to play apex, which means in between, the offensive line and the receiver, or if he's going to stay in the box. And that dictates or allows me to know what I'm going to do with the ball, or where I'm going to go, or how I'm going to get him to move. It makes kind of playing the game of chess a lot easier when you're in the spread offense rather than being bunched up or in tight.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of success with the spread offense here at Caldwell County, and I guess 2012, the season you guys went to the state championship game, that has to hold a lot of good memories for you guys. Even though we didn't get the championship, that was a heck of a run.
It really was, and some of those memories are things that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I remember playing with all those guys. I mean, I was thinking of all my receivers just a minute ago. I had Aggie and Tanner and Cameron, Ty. I had Tez, D, Elijah, Eli, Josh, Jordan. I mean, just all those guys being able to distribute the ball and having so many different receivers contribute to what a wonderful career at Caldwell it was pretty amazing. I mean, I couldn't have done it with any of my teammates. I mean, I can't throw the ball and catch the ball, so I owe those guys almost everything I have. All the records I broke are all due to my offensive line and the receivers catching the ball. I mean, it was just I can't thank Caldwell enough for what they did for me.
Well, and that championship game, I still say if that game had been a minute longer, we were winning that thing.
Oh, yeah, we definitely would have. We just needed just a little bit more time, and we would have pulled it out.
Daniel, talk about how much fun it was for you to coach a basketball team that had Elijah Sindelar and Eli Pepper.
It was. What's up, Elijah, by the way? I'm not sure I said hello. It was fun to watch them just as much on the court as it was off the court. I think one of the things that, those two guys you just mentioned, was to see what they did outside of a structured practice. The hours they put in outside of, working on their shot for basketball or working on their skills for football, or just that was what was, was good for me to see. I remember you were talking about memories earlier. The first memory I have was actually, or one of the first memories I have was coaching at Central. We played over here, but the year before I ended up being the head coach here at Caldwell. Very first play of the game, they run a back screen. Elijah hammers one right in front of me, and I was like, "Wow, we can't. That's going to be tough for us to stop all night," and we didn't. But you touched on this a second ago. I do have a question for you. So you touched on your core of receivers, which was a pretty phenomenal core of receivers you just outlined. But that 2012 season, you were a young quarterback. We have a lot of not just in sports in general, there's a lot of young guys that get thrown into, the quarterback's one of the leaders on the field. So I guess your resume speaks for itself. What advice would you give to a young athlete who gets thrown into that, not just a quarterback, but a position on the football field, a position on the basketball court, a position on the baseball field, because you were in those positions? Looking back, what are some lessons that you learned that might help some of these young guys, now? Maybe they're in, middle school right now. Maybe they're, coming up and just listening. What advice would you give to them, things you've learned that you didn't know then that you wish you would have known?
Yeah, that's a real good point. First things first, I would say that you've got to be diligent in doing what's right and showing the guys that you're going to do what's right. Because as a leader, if you're going to have to call somebody out for running the wrong route or doing the wrong thing, you have to make sure that you're the one doing the right thing. Because if you're not, it's not going to hold any water and guys won't respect you. So that's the first thing, is you've got to make sure that your attention to detail is spot on, that you're trying to do everything right. And that's not going to say you're not going to make mistakes, but you've got to make sure that you're trying to limit those mistakes. So when you can call out or especially an older guy say, hey, that's the wrong route on this play, I need you to be here, they've got to be able to respect you. The other thing is showing grit and just being the one doing extra, showing that you're willing to put in the time and the effort, because older guys will notice that. They really will. If you're just there showing up a minute before practice and leaving as soon as you can, guys aren't going to really respect that. But if you're showing up an hour before practice or 30 minutes before practice, and granted, high school may be a little different because you're probably coming right out of class, but if you can stay late and work on them, or ask, if you're a quarterback, ask a receiver, hey, can we work on this route after practice, and try to do those things. That'll really help you out. The last thing that I wanted to say is kind of slipping from my mind right now, but give me a second to think of what it was.
No, those are both very good points, and I appreciate you sharing that. It's good for those young guys to hear. Like I said, your resume speaks for itself. Good for those guys to hear those comments.
I got it.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I'll hear it.
The last thing, and this is going to be a little interesting, is fake it until you make it. So you may be thrown into this situation, and you may not have a whole lot of confidence in yourself, maybe internally, where you're kind of battling with your own mind. Externally, on the outside, you've got to be stone cold. You've got to be looked apart. You got to be like showing everybody else that you have no doubt that you're going to make this play, or you're going to do this thing. Even though inside you may be having, or doubt may be trying to creep its way in, on the outside, you can't show any of that. That goes probably the longest way for when you're a younger guy with older teammates, is when you do get thrown in the fire, because those guys have had experience being thrown in the fire. So they're trying to see how you're going to react. And if you get thrown into that position and you're like, you know what, regardless of how I feel on the inside, the outside, I'm going to show confidence. I'm going to show poise. I'm just going to get the job done no matter what.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, Elijah, do you miss the football already, or are you ready to move on? And how are you kind of filling the gap without having sports now?
Well, that's a good question. This virus has kind of been crazy, but buying a house has kind of been filling up my time. We're kind of doing some things around the house, and I replaced the floor, and we put in new cabinets and countertops, kind of things like that. So it's kind of been more of carpentry, honestly. That's kind of been filling the time. But I miss sports in general. Baseball was my favorite sport, and I wish I would have been able to play, or even maybe had that last year to play baseball in college. I really wish I would have maybe stayed. I mean, I couldn't have stayed. I had torn ACL, but my senior year of high school, I can't tell you guys enough how much I missed not playing that last year and ultimately leaving early. But there's some kids here that are across the street that play football, and I've been seeing them throw outside. So I'm gonna try to get involved with some of these young kids and be able to just share knowledge and help them out and just throw around with them. I mean, it'll be fun just to be able to throw the football around out, next to the street and the yards and stuff. So I'm going to keep as much in touch with athletics as I can and not let it all slip away,
Hey, Elijah, we appreciate the time today. Thanks for coming on. Again, congratulations on a great football career. We certainly enjoyed watching you in your entire time here at Caldwell County, and best of luck to you in everything you do.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's Elijah Sindelar, former Caldwell County standout. Only Mr. Football from Caldwell County ever. That's a pretty big award right there. I mean,
it is. It's pretty cool to be known you're the best in the state and the only one from here. So that's good stuff.
That was a lot of fun. Our interview with Elijah Sindelar last week during Tiger Day, last Wednesday here on WPKY, as we raised over $15,000 for the Caldwell County High School Athletic Department. And I was afraid a lot of people who listen to this show every Thursday morning might have missed that interview. And again, a lot of nice comments there from the former Tiger great Elijah Sindelar. Wanted to be sure and share those with you once again. Lots of sports coming up tonight. Caldwell County Volleyball, number 1 ranked team in the second region, hosting Hopkinsville at the Cab Gym. If you can't get out to the gym, we will have the game for you on 1580, 103.3 WPKY, online at WPKYonline.com, and you can listen on the WPKY app. Lady Tiger soccer team over at Hopkinsville tonight at the Stadium of Champions. And then on Friday, we've got football out at Tiger Stadium, Caldwell County and Crittenden County, each team ranked in the top 10 in their respective classes. Kickoff time, 7 o'clock Friday. And if you can't make it to Tiger Stadium, can't get one of those 700 tickets, we will have a live stream at WPKYonline.com. You can also listen in at 1580, 103.3, and on the WPKY app. So we've got you covered for Caldwell County sports right here. Thanks to Aaron McClung for joining us on the Sideline Report this morning, and I appreciate everyone who was on for Tiger Day last week, and especially Elijah Sindelar there on that interview. And big day. We had a lot of fun with Tiger Day last week, and proud to be able to play that interview for you again here on the Sideline Report. That's going to wrap us up for this Thursday morning. Thanks for listening here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Voice of Caldwell County. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The number of new unemployment claims the same as last week, and more people are staying